So let's get into this. So, our first
Yeah.
review of the day is going to be for Dawn of the Dead, and no, not the George A. Romero one from 1978. This is the remake from 2004. This one is directed by Zack Snyder, and it's written by George A. Romero and James Gunn. There, Zack Snyder, you know the guy there. He's went on to do many films: Watchmen, 300, Justice League. There, Rebel Moon, most recently there. And also James Gunn, who this was kind of one of his very first big writing projects there. James Gunn, who's also a very prolific director now. You see him, he was involved with Marvel, with the Guardians of the Galaxy films there. It's kind of funny that these two people were kind of involved there now that their two fan bases are kind of always trying to pit them
Mhm.
against each other there,
Yeah.
because of silly comic book reasons and everything like that. But yeah, and so, yeah, you have, Zack Snyder who did direct this movie here. And I actually saw this Dawn of the Dead before I saw the very first Dawn of the Dead, the George A. Romero. So this
Mm.
was my first exposure to Dawn of the Dead there. Did you see the 1978 version before you saw
Oh,
the
hell yeah. No, I
Okay.
was I had been a fan of the 78 Dawn of the Dead for many, many years, to the point that when I saw a preview for this, like, oh, this looks good, and it was like Dawn of the Dead, I was like, whoa! Like, I was mad. I was mad because I was like, you don't remake Dawn of the Dead. How dare you? Like, remake Day of the Dead. That movie's not that great, but
Yeah.
but I did actually see it in the theater. This one, I'm not that old. I didn't see the Romero Dawn of the Dead in the theater. That'd be great, but and again, I was mad at its existence, but more that they were using the name Dawn of the Dead because it is one of my favorite movies of all time. But after the cooling down period, it's pretty good. I think that the opening sequence, especially, is really compelling. Like, you have, like, everything's happening very fast. There's lots of like long shots where, you know, things are coming from the left, moving from the right, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's something Snyder does a pretty good job with, and that action really conveyed like the chaos of what would actually happen during a zombie apocalypse. I mentioned this when we did Zombie Night Extravaganza on the show. There, 28 days later, it's infected people, so it makes sense that they're fast, right? Here, the zombies are just fast because they're zombies. Okay, I'm not saying I need an explainer saying like why they can do that, but why can they do that? Because it suits the plot, I guess. Like, whatever. Like, shut up, have a good time. But it was definitely like he saw 28 days later, it was like, I'll have the zombies do that. And it does make it different, right? Because again, in the Romero movies, they move very slowly. They move
Yeah.
very slowly, and that's a thing. So to have someone like running at you right at the camera, yeah, this is the sequence I'm talking about where this works really well for me. I think you get Sarah Polley,
I like that
Oscar-winning screenwriter Sarah Polley, by the way, because she a lot of people don't realize that she retired from acting, but she wrote and directed Women Talking, which won a screenplay for adapted
Oh,
at the Oscars.
very nice. Okay.
And she's a very talented director and writer as well. But she's the lead in this. I mean, I think she's great. I think Ving Rhames is great. I think it's actually a strong cast. I think it's a little dour as a film. Like, it's pretty hopeless a lot of times, and that's kind of can get daunting a little bit. And it's not I think it was Sunshine and Lollipops in the Romero movie. Don't get me wrong, but like I just felt like it was a little bit on the bleak side, but in a way that came off as mean,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Okay. And so you mentioned the cast here. You got Sarah Polley, you got Vin Rhames. People probably know Vin Rhames. He's been in the Mission Impossible movies recently there. He's the hacker character in that. You also have
He's a classic that guy. He's in everything, man. If you need like a big tough guy doing big tough guy stuff, you got Ving Rhames.
Yeah,
You
Pulp
know?
Fiction,
Pulp Fiction, yeah, man.
all that good stuff there. Jake Weber is also in this. Jake Weber, he's most famous for being in the show Medium. There with Patricia Arquette, I think that's the Arquette right there. That was in
Yeah.
there.
Jake Weber has one of the coolest quotes in this too. I don't want to break up your flow, but like when they're talking about his character Michael, when they're talking about, oh, what did you do before this, and like I forget exactly what he says, but he's like, oh, I didn't do anything, like I just was like a guy, like I wouldn't, like that was, I think, one of the coolest. And then he like kind of, he's like, uh they talk about like what they were doing like the before times, right? And he's like, I worked at a stationery store. I
Mm.
fixed copiers, like I did all these things, and I was just, kind of, he just sort of muddled through life, and it turns out that this fellow is like, what he's really good at is like leading people in
Mm.
like the worst possible situation they could be in. I found that very profound and interesting and different than the original, and I thought that was one of the cooler points.
Mm.
That's Jake Weber's character Michael.
And then you also have Mekhi Phifer there.
Yep.
Before being a name in a Eminem song, he was also in a very variety of different also other projects there. People know him
Yeah.
from there. Things like 8 Mile as well there. So he's a legendary black all star as people like to be dubbed there. So you have him. You also have as well Ty Burrell. Who people might know he was the dad in Modern Family. There, he was there, so he's was in that as Steve in this there. So yeah, you get a good
Yeah,
kind of
he's kind of a jerk in there, and Michael Kelly too. He
Michael
has a
Kelly.
mustache, so you don't recognize him, but he's another classic. That guy. House of Cards has been redacted to a black site for Kevin Spacey stuff, but like he's a classic that guy actor. Like he's in The Penguin now. He's
Oh
Johnny Eady in
yes,
The Penguin. He's in like all kinds of stuff. Like, and he's usually like, he's a good that guy actor. He's been in like some Black Mirror episodes and stuff like that. But the whole time when I was rewatching it for this, I was like, so where do I know that guy from? It was the mustache. I totally did not recognize him with the mustache. I was like, oh, it's that guy.
yeah. With
So
the mustache, with kind of that look, he kind of looks like that guy who's from The Walking Dead, who was like the sidekick to Negan a little bit.
yeah. I forget that actor's name and the character name, but totally has that same vibe, which is crazy to think about, because think about when The Walking Dead came out, right?
Mm.
And I'm talking about not the comic book. I'm talking about the TV show. It came out 2010. So this is like 6 years before that. And let me tell you, 28 Days Later kind of reignited the interest in zombies for a long time, but Walking Dead kind of changed the face of it, and mainstreamed it again for like a new audience, because you had like Shaun of the Dead,
Yeah, same
later
year.
right, and you later on had Zombieland and so on and so on. But this is pre Walking Dead, so that's another thing to think about when you're thinking about this movie in context. Is like The Walking Dead is 6 years away at this point.
Yeah,
The
that's
TV show, not the comic book. Again, to be clear.
yeah. Which is still going, and all the spinoffs and various, which I guess people are still watching. I mean, if they're still doing spinoffs and still going, so I guess people still checking it out. I tuned out a while ago with
Yeah, good
Walking
for them. I don't know. It's not for me, yeah, but it's I'm not hating. I'm just saying that at a certain point I was like, nah, I think I'm out.
Dead. And you mentioned 28 Days Later there, which 28 Days Later they're gonna do 28 years later.
That's right.
They're finally gonna do a sequel to that, and that was what Killian Murphy was in that,
Danny
and
Boyle directed. Yeah, that's and Al Scarlett writing
yeah,
on that one.
that was a good start for them, and that came out in '02. Was 28 Days Later there.
Yeah, we went through all these when we covered the zombie movies. It was pretty interesting because that's one that Danny Boyle did that movie almost as a reaction to what had happened before, and he did like really like cheap with like really of their time state of the art digital cameras, but they all it has a unique look. Let's put it that way. That some people don't quite understand. And one of the reasons why is because he was like using what at the time was technology that was not used for major motion pictures to just make something quick and dirty and kind of like crazy looking, like it was found footage, like it was like a snuff film or something along those lines. And he did a great job with it. It was an amazing movie. And
Yeah.
technically speaking, they're not zombies, but it did revive the genre big time. Like it was a big, and they made 28 Weeks Later, not that good in my opinion. You can skip that one, but I'm down with those three guys being involved. That it's gonna be Danny Boyle, Al Scarlett writing, and Oscar winner Cillian Murphy
Yeah.
acting. Great.
Yeah. So the crew is gonna come back together again for that. So yeah, with this 2004 Dawn of the Dead film there, you got this cast here. Simple film, like you said, things just kind of go to shit one day. All of a sudden, people start showing up, got a taste for flesh, and these kind of strangers kind of band together. You got various different people. You have Sarah Polly in there, who's the lead of the film, who's a nurse. You got Vin Rames, who's a policeman. You got this married couple there, Ty Pfeiffer and his wife there. A salesman is Ty Burrell. So all these kind of different people from all these different walks of life, and they're also in your neck of the woods. They're in Milwaukee there as
Right.
well. It's not.
I think
It's
they
not.
film it in Ontario, but
Yeah,
yeah. It is. It was funny watching this time and being like, oh, Racine and Milwaukee, like Shorewood, they're like naming out places that are like near to my house. It's like, oh, that's weird.
yeah. So they have, yeah. So even though, yeah, you're right, they filmed it in Ontario. They do that thing there, but yeah, so it's in Milwaukee. Supposedly is the setting of it, and they all run to the mall there. Safeguard place there to hold up, to try to figure out what's all going on. And then when they go to the mall, that's when they meet the security guards of the mall. And then kind of the movie mostly takes place in this mall, and then kind of the people deciding what's going to happen, what's going to be the next step with that. And also, another thing I like about this movie is that it shows, through like on the screen, on televisions there, kind of like little kind of what's kind of going on outside through the news.
Yeah.
And what I don't like about some apocalypse movies is that they try to portray like everything would be completely down, cell phone signals, all that in just one day, instead of like that would take a progression of
Right. Instead
weeks.
of it falling apart, like kind of in series almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here it kind of portrays that of like it's not just everything. Yeah, it's a more of a series of things, and you see the military response to it
Yeah.
there. So yeah, it's kind of more. Well, it's kind of a little bit of a bottle film in some aspects there with that there. And it's been a while since I've seen the George A. Romero 1978 film. How much would you compare this to the George A. Romero 1978 film?
I mean, as little as possible because, like I said, one I really love and one I think is okay. But I mean, from the perspective of what the characters are up to, ultimately, that's very similar. Even if, like, the engagement of how they. Because it's all about the interplay between them, right? You have this disparate group of people from different backgrounds and interests, and they are forced to survive in this situation together. And so, how does that transpire, right? How does that go down, and how do they deal with the situations that come through? I think it's more poignant and elegant in the Romero movie, and I think it is so in a way that is also very of its time because it's also critiquing consumerism. Like the zombies are going to the mall because that's what that they have some memory of that they wanted to be there because that was important to them. So that's like a very subtle critique of consumerism. You just don't have any of that in this, although they do drop the line. It's not backed up with anything, so it doesn't really matter. I think the action's great. I think as far as a zombie action movie, it's awesome. Like I said, especially openings, amazing. And the credit scene, the post-credit scene, which is basically, like, okay, here's like a whole other movie, like in the credit scene where you see what happens when they get to the island. Spoiler alert, doesn't end well. I think that stuff's awesome. I think a lot of it kind of drags a little, but it doesn't drag like how Zack Snyder films drag now.
Mm.
And I think that's an important distinction because I think I'm not sure what the runtime on this is, but I don't think it's even. I don't think it's even 2
It's
hours.
only an hour and 40. It's an hour,
Yeah.
I think, an hour and 40.
And that's good. That should be like, look, if you're making a genre movie, that should be what you're shooting for. Like, I don't know why every movie has to be over 2 hours now. It's usually not warranted. But I think it does move along.
Yeah.
I think it does move along. I think it's well. Yeah. So this is the when they're when they're going to the island to get safe haven from the zombies, and this like shows them like making the journey to the island. Spoiler alert, everybody. And then it turns out it's not great. It's not great when they get there. But I love that. I thought that was a great kind of bleak capstone to kind of a bleak movie. I mean, I think, and again, there's some of the similar stakes, like one of the primary characters, not making it all the way, but you kind of, I feel like in the original, you get to know the characters more. and I think that helps, and I think that there's an affinity for some of the characters in this one, but that's not Zack Snyder's strong suit. Is showing that.
Yeah.
Now, again, it's James Gunn's script, and I think he is good at that, but I don't think it quite gets across, but I think it still works, and I think it's probably one of, I put it up there with Watchmen as one of his more successful and enjoyable films for my taste.
Yeah. I think that, this is, like I said, Zack Snyder's very first movie. I think it's probably his best movie when you look at his filmography there. I think for me, it's the strongest one. Like you said, it's not over bloated there.
Yeah.
Maybe like some of his other movies. I think it,
But like most of his other movies.
yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, other than this one, what's a kind of a short? Probably 300 is, I think, also pretty.
Is 300 short? You could tell me it's 3 hours. You could tell me it's 90 minutes, and I would be like, sure.
Relatively compared to all the director's cuts that are
Yeah,
3+
I know.
hours and everything. So yeah, I still think this is the strongest one. I think Zack Snyder needs a very strong script to
Yeah.
really help him. That really helps him a lot there. And I think James Gunn has a pretty good script here. Like I said, James Gunn, who did a lot of writing before he really became director there. And he was a writer like on things like Romeo and Juliet. And,
Oh yeah, he was a big trauma guy. Yeah, that's what people don't even remember. But again, pre Guardians of the Galaxy, a bunch of people that didn't like his politics like dug up a bunch of old tweets and stuff when he was edgelording it up, and they got him fired from Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they eventually got reinstated. And that's a prime example of like cancel culture right there, as much as I hate using that term. But it ended up, I find it interesting. I didn't think about the fact that Gunn wrote it and Snyder directed it, and in the DC universe, like there's two warring factions, and it's Gunn versus Snyder. Thought never even occurred to me until you mentioned that, because this is so long ago that it's it's like, oh yeah, no, those dudes work together.
Yeah. I mean, I think they like each other fine. I don't think they've ever, both root for each other and success for each other and everything. So, yeah. He was a big, writer for a minute there, James Gunn, and doing a lot of that. That's how he kind of got his start. And then before he went into directing movies. And like you mentioned, I don't think they hammer home as much the consumerism element there, because it's been a minute since I've seen the George A. Romero 1978 Dawn of the Dead. But I think that's such a big thing about that one is, like you said, everybody goes to the mall. The zombies kind of all migrate there for that, because that's they just have that vivid memory of doing so there, just like muscle memory of just walking to the mall and going there, shopping there. I guess now would be everybody just sits at home trying to turn on Netflix, maybe, I guess.
Right. Exactly. Everyone's looking at their phones now, right? Something like that.
But
it's also like it doesn't need to do the same thing, right? Because there is a movie that already does that. But I found that kind of lacking. By the way, 300 is 116 minutes.
Okay.
And Sucker Punch 110 minutes, and Dawn of the Dead 101 minutes. So it is not his shortest movie, because there's like a Michael Jordan short that he did that's like 47 minutes. And there's some other thing that I've never heard of called Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. What is this?
Oh, yeah. I think that's like his second best one. That's the animated one. If you've never seen it.
Animated. Is it good? Okay.
I think that's like his second best one.
I've honestly never heard of it. So that's slightly shorter than his Dawn of the Dead. Everything else is longer by a lot. A lot. And I think that, I mean, there's things like I wasn't mad at, was it Army of the Dead? Right,
with Dave
Bautista and Ella Purnell and all them. Thought it was fine. It was thought it was too long. It's too muddled. But I mean, it's not like I wasn't mad at it. But I feel like that's his go-to now, is like long and muddled. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I think most movies are too long these days. The Matt Reeves Batman, everyone loved that movie. Too long. Could have cut 40 minutes of that movie. It's enough. Wrap it up.
Yeah, enough of too much of Batman, I guess, for that one there.
I mean, there's things I liked about it, but like like some movies you're like, well, I don't know what I would cut, but I'd always be like, let me add it. I know everything I'd cut on that movie.
And I don't think he didn't do he didn't direct the spinoff, right? He didn't. No, I think that was someone else, right?
The Penguin.
No, Army of the Dead. You remember they did?
Army of the Dead. Yeah, I did. I thought he did direct that, didn't he?
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
The one with the what was he, German or Swiss? Or
the safecracker fella?
Yeah, I don't know. I forgot what he was. Was he German or something? I forgot.
Something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, I remember Theo Rossi was in it. I remember El Purnell was in it. Like, it was fine. It just was way too long. And it was like, you know, you can do this. You did it with Dawn of the Dead. Like, why is this, why on earth would this be 148 minutes?
Yeah.
For whom is that for?
Yeah. Just yeah. I mean, a lot kind of going on there. And this one, like I said, it's more condensed with Dawn of the Dead. It's much more streamlined, much more, you kind of get the characters there, get what they're kind of about in here in the story. And yeah, you kind of has good momentum to see what's going on
Right.
with it. How do you like the effects, even though this was 20 years ago, of the zombies? How do you like
I
the
think they're good. I think the effects are kind of one of the times that this movie really shines. I think it was a best kind of mix of the Tom Savini practical effects along with like what digital technology was able to offer as well. Like I think it looks a lot better than movies that came out last year, you know?
Who shout out to Tom Savini? He makes a cameo in this. Shout out to him.
He's like the sheriff character. That's nice. That was nice to see. I thought that was cool. But I think that oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was yeah. You go ahead.
I think it's glitzier. It's glossier. I think it's honestly it's not like the original Dawn of the Dead isn't gory, but this is definitely gorier than the original one.
Yeah.
But I think
A lot more-
there's a lot of missed opportunities. Is I guess my problem with this one. I feel like that there was like times it could have gone a little deeper, and it just didn't.
Yeah, a lot more action based, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot more, faster paced in that sense there with it. And you got some good, memorable zombies in this. Like you got the kind of the bloater type zombie with the woman there. You have I think infamous zombie baby there with that one.
Right.
Which
Which
did look
is
a little goofy looking, but it was kind of creepy, I guess.
also
yeah.
Peter Jackson did that with Dead Alive at like 91, man. But okay, yeah, you know. Or Brain Dead, Dead Alive, whatever you want to call it. Same movie.
Yeah. Actually, let me show that clip there because it's creepy the way they kind of set it up there with it.
Well, and I can't be the only one that once I saw there's a pregnant woman, I'm like, oh, is this baby gonna be a zombie? First thing I thought of, like immediately.
Yeah, it's like Alien Romulus when she does like, "Well, I'm pregnant." Well, you already know what's going
I
to
was
happen
like,
there.
oh, you know what, that's gonna play out exactly. Maybe I'm being a cynical genre fan though by saying that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't that surprised by it. It was fine. It was fine. The zombie baby, sure, zombie baby. Why not?
Yeah, let me. This is the clip of it right here where you actually get to see the baby here. So,
Yeah, there it is. Hey, everybody, I'm the zombie baby.
Yeah. Zombie rules. So in this one, they portray, like I said, it's a little bit different. So that you got little fast zombies in this. They can run. They
Right.
got their cardio in there.
Some of them got hauling ass, man. They're moving. It was like for real.
You got that. Do you prefer fast zombies or you like slow zombies? Are you a purist there?
I mean, I think it's whatever's telling the better story. The aforementioned 28 Days Later, technically they're not zombies, they're infected people. That's like one of my favorites. I wouldn't have minded the zombies being like middle distance runners in this one if maybe there was any explanation as to like why it happened. Like even it's like something throwaway like a news item or something. It just was like I'm sure it was like, hey, we like the zombies to be fast now because 28 Days Later.
Yeah, that's what the
Okay.
kids are into now. They want the
Yeah.
fast zombies. They want the slow zombies. But I mean,
Look- Train to Busan, it works there, you know, like and I don't know why like it doesn't annoy me in Train to Busan, but it kind of annoys me a little bit on the Snyder movie, but it does.
and they're doing a remake of that Train to Busan.
Train to Busan, an
Yeah.
American remake or
They're doing an American remake of it.
huh?
So
See the problem. So here's the problem with that. We don't rely on public transit like they do there. So
depends what city. Like
I guess I
maybe-
think you could do it in New York and then it's fine. Okay. But,
yeah, which they are doing. It's last
Train-
train to New
Train to Hoboken.
yeah,
Oh, it's last train to okay. Well, that's
last train to Soho.
exactly. I have a brother. I know that one.
But they got delayed though. So this got delayed, but Yeah.
I like that one though. I mean, I think we closed when we did Zombie Month. I think we actually closed with the Train to Busan because I wanted to include it because I thought it was
Yeah.
a worthwhile inclusion. I think that's one that well, again, it isn't just the zombies running around, right? Like that's also like you have to have stakes for the people, which doesn't mean you have to care about the people, but there has to be some like degree of stakes for it. And I think that set up, there was the guy that was the actor that's in all the
The one from
Director
Eternal.
Bong movie. Oh yeah. That's right. He's in this. He's in those too. Like this the dichotomy between the two like predominant male leads is like super interesting, and you kind of like as the time goes on, like, oh, the working class guy is
You talking
actually
about this
awesome,
guy?
and
You
this
talking about the
guy
other
is
guy?
Ma Dong Suk. He has done like a bunch of other rad stuff. That guy is actually like I've watched a lot of movies that he's in now. And then the other guy's cool too, but I'd seen like less stuff that he was in. But I guess kind of get that with this, like I mean, you like a little bit, but I feel like it's just people saying the lines before doing the thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel it as much, even though there's some characters that definitely are more impediments than others. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. How do you like the chemistry between the cast here? How do you like
I
that?
think I think Sarah Polley and Ving Rhames are both great. I think everything they do are great. I mentioned before the fellow who plays Michael. I think that guy is like really awesome. I didn't really know him from anything aside from this. I think everyone else is cool. I like Matt Frewer a lot. It's always nice to see him and stuff. He's a great that guy actor. I like the whole thing. This is another thing I thought that this movie innovated, having the gun store, and they're like communicating with like the guy from the gun store with like binoculars and like the signs and stuff. I thought that was cool because that's something like that would be real, right? You'd have someone that you can't get to, but you're trying to communicate with them and like using low tech possible. That all worked for me. I thought that was interesting, and I liked it when it was doing stuff that was interesting.
Mm. Yeah, because you see, like a montage takes place in the middle of the movie where they you can tell they've been there, I guess, for a number of maybe months or a
A
series
while.
of weeks there, and they start talking to a person across the street there who's at the gun shop who's on there's held up there, and they come up with a plan, because they're like, hey, we can't stay here forever. The other guy across the street, he's getting hungry, he needs food. How are we gonna get food to him? We got
Right.
to get some school buses, soup up the school buses, so we can drive through the zombies there. Because now you see like there's a whole bunch of zombies that are just in the middle between them
Yep.
and the gun shop guy there. So what are we gonna do there? And then a plan formulates, and of course, anytime a plan formulates, there's always somebody's gonna fuck up that plan, and
Right.
then things.
Exactly. Oh, there's no movie, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you always need that.
Hey, everything went smoothly and nothing went bad. Great.
And the
This
person
movie is 5 minutes long.
And the person who ends up fucking up the plan is Nicole, who's played by Lindy Booth there, who people might know Lindy Booth. I mean, she probably wants to forget this on her resume, but I think I remember her from one of those like spoof movies. I want to
Oh,
say,
sure. She was in a bunch of like Hallmark films and stuff too. Like she was kind of just like yeah. She's that chick. She's in this.
yeah. And this is let me see. Let me show a picture of
I'm not
her.
sure if she's. I'm not sure. Let's see. Well, she
Yeah,
was in the second Kick-Ass movie, I think, too, maybe. And she was like, I want to say she was the. She was in a
yeah. She
couple
was
different
in.
things.
She was Night Bitch in Kick Ass 2 there. She was in that.
There's
Yeah. So
a
very
movie that
creative
did
names
not
there.
need a sequel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was in. She was in a bunch of like kind of like mid-grade horror movies and stuff like that. But like the thing I remember most is like being she was in that the second Kick-Ass movie, which of course is Aaron Taylor Johnson and
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Chloe Grace Moretz. Yeah,
Yeah, even then too.
okay.
Uh,
I mean, Nicolas Cage is hard to be mad at Nicolas Cage in the first one.
yeah. So her situation, she because there's another group of survivors they meet that crash at the mall, and she's part
Yeah,
of that group. And then you need some other extra people that need to die before to add some excitement to the movie. So she has her father who
right.
got bit, and then he gets infected there. They don't know about the rule yet of like once you get bit, you can just chop it off. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
don't know about that rule with that though.
Well, and how would they? Right? They wouldn't. But I like that Michael Kelly, who's a total jerk with his like jerk mustache, he's not wrong. Like bringing those people in does cause problems, but it's also the right thing to do. And I like that you have when you have Jake Weber when his character, like he's just talking to the truck driver when they first come in is like, you know, like he's like, oh yeah, you know what did you know, I heard all these people were stranded, so I just drove my truck over. And he's like, oh, good for you. Like just like that shows like, you know, like sets up the humanity of and the morality of it. But in this case, yeah, weak link. She actually screws everything up.
Yeah, because I guess because of her dad passing away, and then she forms a bond with this dog, and then they like, okay, they send the dog over to have a way to give him food.
Yeah.
And zombies, it depends. Some zombies are interested in animals, some zombies are not. Depends on the lore of the zombie
Yeah.
stuff. Here, the zombies aren't interested in animals, which I guess if they were interested in animals, people would probably die off a lot faster because if they started biting deers and
Yeah.
various animal dogs, people would get probably affected a lot faster. So yeah, so they send the dog over, and there's like a little doggy door. The zombies end up grabbing the doggy door there. They all flood inside, and kill the guy across there, infect him. She goes over there, steals the bus. They try to go get the bus back, and they're like, okay, now's our time. We got to get out of here. And just the whole plan just is fucked from there. But exciting sequence though, I would say that whole sequence was very, very exciting there.
Yeah, again, good action in this. You know, no complaints there. Like, and sort of like the beats might seem small when you just talk them out like that, but it all works. It works well enough. I mean, I think there's no point where you're just like, why did they do that? Chip's the dog, right? That's the dog's name.
Yeah,
great,
Chip.
Great character. Yeah, great dog acting in this.
And here's the thing, they're driving out of it there. They got souped up this thing, barbed wire, everything like that, and just you see
it's all Mad Maxed out.
Yeah, all these zombies just kind of surrounding them there, and they're trying to fight them off. Yeah, and this was a lot more other people. They die here as well. But yeah, this was.
Yeah, I feel like there's some people around that are just there to be cannon fodder, right? Like it's like we don't really get to know anything about them.
Like this woman right here, like the one that was sleeping with Steve. Yeah, like you don't really get anything with her besides that there.
There's no characterization. It's just that guy. The guy with the tie. He's a dick. That guy. All right.
Well, you know that because he's wearing a tie.
He's wearing a tie. Exactly.
Like, why are you still wearing a tie? It's the zombie apocalypse, dude.
Actually, his name is Ty Burrell, so he's wearing a tie, and his name is Ty. So
symbolism right there.
There you go.
That's what you got there. Yeah, and so that's kind of exciting. So I think that has it, over the original, just the pace of it, how much it kind of keeps.
It's very fast. Yeah, it moves along. It doesn't drag at all. And again, I think that works well with the runtime being most horror movies like justify being over 90 minutes. If you ask me, like, why are you over 90 minutes? Like, is there some reason why you think that your movie should be over 90 minutes? Oh, because I've got more story to tell. Okay, well, Predator is 107 minutes. Is your movie better than Predator? If yes, fine, go ahead. But if not, I don't know. Predator's a pretty good movie. It's a Predator quotient.
Some fun little trivia about the movie. Vin Rames, he heard that they were doing a remake of Dawn of the Dead, and he begged to be in the movie. He asked, tracked down, begged to be in the film there.
Nice.
So he did that. George A. Romero was initially against the remake, but after seeing the film, he was kind of impressed by it. He thought it was pretty good there. The musical choices in the movie, that was very, very much a Zack Snyder thing, because the movie opens up with Johnny Cash's, speaking about Johnny Cash there, and something like A Complete Unknown, James Mangold there, and he also did a Johnny Cash movie. The Man Comes Around is the opening song of the movie, so Zack Snyder very, very much picked that.
Which is one of the American recordings, Rick Rubin, Johnny Cash albums, which are all very good, but that one is definitely very bleak and apocalyptic. It has a lot to do with the Book of Revelations. But it's well deployed here. Well deployed.
Yeah, that was pretty good there. Good needle drop. Yeah, good needle drop there for the movie. Usually James Gunn is pretty good with the needle drops.
Oh yeah, he's like known for it, right? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe he got inspired from Zack Snyder. He's like,
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
he's like, I'm gonna start putting my playlist in movies. Since that
Exactly.
happens there.
Made a lot of very worthy people some new fans and money
Yeah.
by doing so.
Not as much as probably Stranger Things did for Kate Bush, probably, but
Well, that's a rare case of like Kate Bush always should have been more popular, and just it happened to be a really key moment of a thing that everybody was watching, but also just the thing happened to be really good, and there's a whole bunch of people waiting to be connected with that artist. So that's definitely like the best possible example for that, right?
yeah. So, what will be
Dick
your
Dale in Pulp Fiction, maybe. I don't know.
final thoughts and rating for Dawn of the Dead 2004?
Yeah. So I think so. I said in retrospect, I was sitting at a, I was sitting like a 2.5 for a really long time, just because I was just mad that they would dare remake one of my favorite movies. Right. I think it's more like a 3.5, 3.5 out of 5. Like it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It moves along very nicely. There's some good performances. Doesn't overstay its welcome. I think it's my favorite Zack Snyder movie. It's like probably between that and Watchmen, and then like 300 behind it. 'Cause 300 is cool, but it's idiotic too. Let's let's not
Yeah,
get it twisted. It's pretty dumb. Like
yeah. It is, I guess. It was iconic, I guess, for me. Everybody was doing parodies of 300. Everybody was this is
yeah.
Sparta, and everybody was doing that. Like, everybody
Well,
was
I
keep.
mean, look at Frank Miller. Frank Miller is like it's easily to parody because he's so just ridiculously like over the top like masculine and stuff. Which like all right. I mean, like Sin City, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah,
I love Sin City, but it's also like all right. I get it.
yeah,
Come on. Noir. I get it. Cool. But I think that I probably kind of undersold this one for a long time, and it's I think Ving Rhames and Sarah Polley are both fantastic in it, and I think the cast overall is very strong. There's no weak links in the cast, and
mm,
I think if there's anything that I can say about it, that opening sequence amazing and one of the best like credit slash post credit sequences ever. So the beginning and the end, all the kudos, all the flowers, and then the middle's pretty good too. Like it's a good action zombie movie. And if I just wish they called it something not Dawn of the Dead.
mm, yeah. Called it something else, Dawn of the Alive, something like
Yeah, I
that.
mean, call it Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. I don't care, but I guess he didn't have a name then. But like, just like if they had called it
Yeah.
anything else, I probably would have been. Oh, another good musical choice. The Muzak version of "Don't Worry, Be Happy" in the mall. That was great.
Yeah.
That was,
So you give it, you said 2.5 out of 5?
I said 3.5 out
Three,
of
three,
5.
three.
I was at 2.5, and then on reexamination, I'm gonna bump it. You know what? Yeah. I'll say 3 point. Maybe it should be 3. Maybe it should be 3. I
Okay.
see. The thing is, I used to be such a hard ass, and then like now I think I'm becoming a softie.
Mm,
But let's say 3.5. Sure.
3.5. So on
Zack
our
Snyder Dawn
scale,
of the
I
Dead.
think, so the highest you can give something is This Is Cinema. It's the highest you can give something. The lowest you can give something is Waste of Fucking Film. And then in between all that, so below This Is Cinema, there's Peak, there's Tune In, and there's a Stream It. So I think with a 3, that's about a tune in. So you give it a 2.
Yeah, it's a stream it, tune in. Like it's worth watching. If you like zombie movies, you should watch it.
Yeah.
Don't be
Uh,
hung up on it like I was.
yeah. And then for me, I would give Dawn of the Dead, the Zack Snyder 2004 film. So I do think this is his best film out of his whole kind of filmography there. Like I said, really the pace of the movie, the action of the film. I don't think it touches on obviously the iconic nature of the 1978 film with George A. Romero, who he is the godfather of obviously all the zombie genre there. People credit him for that. Because of his zombie films, we get so many other zombie things like 28 Days Later, like all the video games like Resident Evil and so on and so forth. I mean, he very much is the father of that. So you got to give it up to him. So it's hard to touch that there. But I think, this is its own thing there, and it fits a modern audience for kind of what it represents there. Still looks really good 20 years later. I mean, the
Yeah,
effects with the zombies, that all looks really good there, what they do. So that's very good. Like I said, love the cast here. You got a good people assembled there. Vin Rhames, Sarah Polley, Mekhi Phifer there. Really good cast assembled for this. For this movie. you root for it. Hey, the black guy survives. If you just cut off the credits, you go like, hey, black guy still lives. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Just cut off the credits,
Still can have a happy ending if you stop the movie early.
yeah. Just cut off the credits there. Like I said, good credit sequence too. That was really good at the end of the movie, like a little, kind of stinger or something like that at the end you can watch there as well. So for me, I would give it a high tune in, kind of bordering on peak for me for the Zack Snyder
Okay.
2004
All right.
film. I liked it quite a bit. So yeah. Thank you. That was our review for Zack Snyder 2004, Dawn of the Dead.